Hey everybody, um, back again. Made it another day. Almost didn't, if we're being honest. I mean, it wasn't bottom of the barrel, the worst moment I've had, but I struggled last night. I was just stuck in my head, sitting here alone in the quiet, just me and my thoughts and the disease. Um, you know, I, I'm still struggling with the loss of my recent relationship. Any time a relationship goes bad, um, it's painful. It hurts, and you want to let it out. But what makes this one extra hard is not only did I lose my relationship, but I lost my best friend at the same time. I don't have um, the person to go to that I've been used to having for the last 11 years. Um, that sucks. That really sucks. It's been hard. I keep wanting to reach out, but I stop myself, not because I'm afraid, but because I know it's the right thing to do. Um, again, I'm all about being raw and real. I love her. I always will. For the last 11 years, she was absolutely my world. You know, um, and again, I'm not here to throw shade. I'm not here to put anybody in a bad light. But I also don't want to tap dance around things either. In the end, whether it doesn't come down to who's at fault, but the end result was trust was broken. And without trust, there's no going forward. You have to have that trust. And one of the things that broke that trust was the fact that we weren't able to rely on each other for different reasons the way we should. Um, my former partner had a problem with accountability. And before, I get all the hate, it's not what you're thinking. They didn't have a problem taking accountability. They did not understand how you're supposed to use accountability. You're not supposed to beat yourself up with it. You're supposed to learn from it and make the change you need to make and move forward. You know, um, and there was a repeating problem. And again, I'm usually a 3 strikes you're out guy. This one took 4, if that says anything for anyone who, well, I guess nobody knows me. I don't even know me. I mean, I'm getting better at it. I'm learning. I'm understanding. But I had a nice little reminder today, though. This one is, I'm already so far into it. This one's probably going to go a little over today, and it's not going to be for everybody. But it's something important that I was reminded to share. So I'm sitting there last night, and I'm just hating on myself, and it's going around in my brain, and I mean, it got dark. Like I was full on back to that stinking thinking. Like I just wanted to be done with everything. Um, but I held on and I made a decision for myself. And this morning, I got myself together, did my usual morning routine, took care of what I needed to take care of, got myself dressed, and even though it was raining, um, I walked down to the end of the street and I took myself to church today. I needed that. One thing about this relationship was the only time we really had was weekends. So I got out of the habit of church because that was family time. My time with my faith I could do through the week, on my own or with friends. And I didn't do it as often as I should have, but I did do it that way for quite a long time. But I let myself forget what it feels like when you're in a good church. I have a bittersweet relationship with church because I am a man of faith, but I don't put much stock in religion. And I know a lot of people are going to scratch their heads about that one. If you know, you know. I don't subscribe to religion, but faith is important. You have to have faith. It's one of the things that, helps get through the hard times. And again, that was one of the resources that, no blame, because it was, again, my choice. I take full accountability, but in this relationship, I chose to put my relationship with my faith on the back burner to my relationship with my partner. And I don't regret it, but I need to rekindle that. That's where I'm at. And this is the part, please bear with me. I try to dance around topics of religion for obvious reasons. I know it's off-putting to a lot of people, but I got a good reminder. And it's funny because it wasn't even part of the sermon. It was just, I don't know, but a reminder of an important thing that somebody once shared with me in a Bible study. And it applies here. So, I know a lot of people out there are really down with the Christian faith right now, and I get that. Bear with me, okay? This is something important. There is a story in the Bible referred to as the thorn in the flesh. And it's from 2 Corinthians chapter 12. And I'm going to go 1 through 10. Now, I have I have several Bibles and several other religious texts, because one of the things in this journey has been, studying religion. But this is my favorite Bible to use. It's a New King James Study Bible, MacArthur. So, anywho, not that to some of you that'll matter, some it won't. So the wording's going to be a little, it's not all of these and thous, because it's not the full King James, it's the New King James. But it's still a little awkward and chunky, but I like it because it's a more bridgeable edition. And again, if that makes sense, great. If not, you know. Anyway, let me get into it. It is doubtless not profitable for me to boast. I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago, whether in the body I do not know, or whether out of the body I do not know, God knows. Such a one was caught up to the third heaven. And I know such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I do not know, God knows, how he was caught up into paradise and heard inexpressible words, which it is not lawful for a man to utter. Of such a one I will boast, yet of myself I will not boast, except in my infirmities. For translation, infirmities is basically your ailments. What's wrong with you? If you're in poor health, deformities, handicaps, things of that nature. For though I might desire to boast, I will not be a fool, for I will speak the truth. But I refrain lest anyone should think of me above what he sees me to be or hears from me. And lest I should be exalted above measure by the abundance of the revelations, a thorn in the flesh was given to me, a messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I be exalted above measure. Concerning this thing I pleaded with the Lord 3 times that it might depart from me. And he said to me, My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. That's an intentional pause. I'm letting that sink in. Therefore, most gladly, I will rather boast in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in needs, in persecutions, in distresses for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. And when that memory of the time that I was, somebody shared that story with me and we did a Bible study of it, it sent a tingle through me. Just that reminder that in my weakness, my strength is made perfect. And if I'm being honest, there's a lot of times I feel like I'm running out of the strength to fight this battle. I have some dark humor, so that's going to come out. I have been dealing with depression since the first heart attack. That was in 2021, and we're in 2025, so 4 years. I've been fighting this battle for 4 years. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. I do not struggle with depression. Depression struggles with me. And that's, a powerful thing. I've been having a lot of awakenings lately, Again, going back to the relationship in that moment when trust was broken, I understand why my partner was upset with me, because I wasn't the greatest partner. I've been going through this and I have not been able to fulfill my role in the partnership, not the way I should have. I understand why they wanted their, freedom. But that was when the trust was broken, because what I'm looking for in a real relationship is I want my partner, I want those vows to mean something. And I know a lot of you can say, oh, well, you were together for 11 years, you weren't married yet. That shouldn't matter. Well, no. Because again, I've been, sharing a lot of posts. I'm doing a lot of writing lately. No. When you find somebody and you even just think they're the one, you put your best foot forward. Period. No excuse. If you have a rough day, yes, you get to be diminished in that. If you're, this is going to come out wrong, but you know how they say if you only have 20%, but if you gave all 20%, you really gave 100? That's how relationships work. You know, you have to bring your best self to your partner, and your partner in turn has to bring their best self to you. It is not a destination. It is not perfection between the two of you. It is an ongoing, lifelong process. Every woman is looking for the night. Well, I shouldn't say everyone. I apologize. I see. I have to watch that talk because I listen to society and they like to use certain terminologies. No, every person, men too. They need that knight in shining armor. They need that person that makes them feel safe. You know, this world is a crazy place, or it can be at times. It can be beautiful, but it can be crazy. And you need that person that makes you feel safe. But here's something, folks, I'll share with you. Another, again, I got a bunch of sayings that I've collected over the years, but another one is the thing about a knight in shining armor, you know, and picture it. They're all buffed up. Everything looks perfect and pristine and shines in the sunlight. But a knight in shining armor is a man who has not had, or again, is a person, apologies, is a person who has not had their mettle truly tested. It's easy to love somebody when it's all pretty and glamorous. It's hard to stand by that when it's not so pretty and glamorous. But the reward is if you get through it, you'll be that much stronger at the end. And unfortunately for us, that just wasn't in the cards. You know, again, I wrote yesterday about it. You know, there was definitely a distinct irony in how things ended, but in the end, she asked for her freedom, and I gave it, and I ended up getting mine. And I know that sounds horrible, and I do not mean it that way, but it is also the truth. We do raw and real here. You know, there has been grief over the loss of the relationship, but there has also been relief. I am finally able to let go of a weight that has been part of this battle. And, you know, you would think that in the state of depression, losing a relationship would devastate you and send you there. And it did for a little while. But again, I have destroyed and rebuilt myself so many times now. You know, both willingly and unwillingly. You know, I've just been ripped apart and put back together. And I've gotten pretty good at it. It's one of the things I do. It's a choice that I make. You know, I said it before. Every day that you open your eyes, you automatically have two things: a chance and a choice. So when the hard moments come, try and make the right choice. we're here together, and one of the things I really, really like, and I do not use this word lightly, one of the things that I hate about modern society is the push of hyper individualism. That's not how our ancestors got us to where we are. That is not how we move forward. That is not how humanity is meant to live. You know, I'm sorry, I'm trailing off. I've been like sinking really hard in my head the last couple days. But anyway, I know I've already gone over. Like we're pushing past 20 minutes. I just passed 21. So instead of going off on another tangent, I'm going to end it here. Apologies for going over, but hopefully it was worth it. Hopefully something here helped somebody today. I still feel the struggle, but I also feel a renewed strength in the fight. I needed that, and I'm going to keep going with that. I wouldn't force that decision on anybody, but I will say faith is a powerful tool, in this journey, in this process, in getting through the hard parts, the dark parts. Just keep that in mind, okay? All right, everybody. Hopefully we can all meet up again tomorrow. Have a good one.